Hey, possibility seekers, how are you? Good morning. At least it's good morning for me. I'm having my cup of coffee. Hello. Happy 2026. It's kind of crazy. As I say that, I am in kind of denial and shock that 2025 went so darn fast. But I haven't done a solo episode in a long time, and I thought I wanted to for, the purposes of the new year, the planning, the thinking. Everyone talks about New Year's resolutions. First of all, I hate New Year's resolutions. I think they're overrated, and the statistics tell us that nobody really sticks with them. And honestly, they're forgotten and overlooked and whatever by the 20th of the month, anyhow. So the other night, I had the pleasure of speaking to a group of women in my Project 1490. Shout out to Sarah Dale. A group of women who basically focus on badassery, as we like to say. And they asked me to speak about how to vision for 2026. And the conversation was everything from vision boards, which, you know what? I did vision boards for years. I did one last year and I loved it. This year I wasn't feeling vision boards. It wasn't calling to me. I talked to my friend Rosie, who you've heard from before, Rosie McCann, and she has a word of the year. Today I'm going to talk about how 3 words can change your life, but that's neither here nor there. Right now we're talking about like the theme of the year, right? What do you want to focus on? Where do you want to put your energies? And then I'm going to talk to you about how to use 3 words to absolutely positively reposition and give yourself a true north for the entire year, for your entire life. I mentioned it in my book, and I really leaned into it the other night. So first I'm going to say I started my year with a word for my theme. And this year, instead of doing a vision board, those of you who are watching this on YouTube, the word is trust. And it's not like trust from the standpoint of like, I'm going to believe everything everybody says. I'm going to be like buying swampland in Florida because I trust the sleazy, slick oiled salesman that is snake oil salesman that's selling me property. That's not what I mean by trust. I trust the timing of my life, the wisdom of my body, the guidance I already carry. I release scarcity and fear. There is enough time, there is enough love, there's enough support, there's enough possibility. With open hands and an open heart, I allow abundance in seen and unseen ways. With an open hands and an open heart, I allow abundance to enter my life. So I trust that the universe, that God, that all the things that I believe in will guide me, and that I need to kind of release the need to control or feel like I can control everything about my life, which is it's not actually true. We can't control everything. We have agency in many things, and we're going to talk about that next. However, the notion of control is something I'm trying to play with and be okay with allowing things to unfold, being a little less, forceful about things. Now, segue onto what is the topic of today's episode. Today's episode is what I started to talk about, which is what I talked about at Project 1490, which is the notion of the 3 words and how we can set visioning. And we went through things like, what are you most proud of? What did you spend more energy on than it was worth? What made you feel most like yourself? These are questions you might want to think about, right? What are you most proud of? Last year, I am most proud of the fact that I was in 3 different countries for extended periods of time, and I didn't miss a beat. Thank you, Kendra Debris. I did work in most of those excursions. Some I took a couple days off at a time. So that was for me a really great thing. My daughter got married last year. That was a fun and prideful moment. What makes you feel most like yourself? For me, it's travel. For me, it's working with women and having them have an aha moment. What gave you joy last year? So think about those things. What do you want to stop pretending you want? Oh my God. For real. Let's be real. Some of those things that came out for people is like, I don't want a corporate job. I don't want full-time work. I don't want corporate success. I don't need a big title. I want my life to mean more. I want to be doing work that's more meaningful to me. What expectations or yours or someone else's are you done carrying with you? Like, those are really thoughtful and poignant questions. What do you want to take off your plate? So after we did some of that, I realized that the key themes that I heard at 1490 were the key themes that I've been hearing about on this podcast for 100 and some odd episodes. And that is that women get to a point where they're done people pleasing, right? Are you at that point? Overthinking, trying to be perfect, trying to do it all. And this idea of living our lives through somebody else's lens, living our lives for other people or for the optics. Oh my God, it's going to look great on Facebook. It's going to look great on Instagram. Who gives a shit? Honestly, if you are doom scrolling and looking at social media to validate your choices, you have completely and utterly missed the boat. Your life is your life. People think that other people give a shit about what other people are doing. They're too busy trying to do their own shit. So let's reframe and let's refocus on ourselves and not what other people think, do, are, have. All of those things do not add energy to our lives. They suck energy from our lives. So I want to talk about how do we build this notion of focus, this intentionality. And I'm going to take you back to what I talked about in my book, and that is the idea of three, the power of three, but in a different way, the three words. You have to remember, power of three is the way that people communicate. It's the way the universe and so many things in the world are structured. First of all, three is the magic number. You see behind me the three words. I'm going to lean into that. Why is three the power word, power formula? Well, people can't remember more than three things. How do we speak? He is short, fat, and bald. She is tall, skinny, blonde. The restaurant was fast, good, and cheap. Religion, the Holy Trinity, Father, Son, the Holy Spirit in Christianity. Apparently in Hinduism, there's the Trimurti, Brahma, Vishnu, and Shiva. Theater, three-act plays. Life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Friends, Romans, countrymen. Military, triangular division structure. Thank you, Brian McCann. Cultural, societal life stages are childhood, adulthood, old age. In philosophy, thesis, antithesis, and synthesis. Sigmund Freud had in his psychology, he had the id, the ego, and the superego. Branches of government, three, judicial, executive, legislative. Oh my goodness. There we go. So I'm going to revisit and tell you and explain to you how you use three words. Three words that can create a lens by which we make decisions, spend time, spend money, accept jobs, projects, offers, to collaborate, to not collaborate. A way to make yourself authentic, courageous, and everything you want to be. So this is what you do. And there's going to be a download for the three words exercise in this for this podcast. All you have to do is scroll down in the show notes and you can download the sheet. The sheet basically allows you to make it super simple. It looks like this, right? Three words. So you have a long list of all the adjectives that you feel describe who you are. Now, one column is good. This is what you're proud of. This is what you do already. The other column is not so good. And the third column is indifferent, or you don't really own them yet. Maybe you like them, maybe you don't. You haven't really decided. So good. It could be generous and brave and authentic and disciplined and whatever, right? The not so good could be judgmental. It could be anxious. It could be undisciplined. It could be unthoughtful. It could be a variety of things. And indifferent could be something that's like just, smart or sweet or nice. Those are sort of indifferent words, but they might describe you. Now, what I want you to really think about, and this is going to take some time, so I want you to really, take the time to do the exercise. The exercise and the magic happens when you look at this list and you say, who do I want to be? Because who you are today, if you feel like you've nailed discipline, that's not your word. Maybe you need to be more grateful for the bonuses and the beauty in your life that you sometimes don't take the time to acknowledge and to give just honor to, right? So if gratitude is your objective, use the word I am grateful or be grateful. You start with be, right? Be grateful. Maybe if you think you're being too passive and you're accepting things that aren't for you or working with you or people around you are, not necessarily your people. Maybe you want my word, which is intentional. Maybe that's your word. Be intentional. If you feel that you're maybe too meek or you're too passive or you're too accepting of things and not in control, maybe my word bold works for you. So we did this at the retreat, and I had a woman who I adore, and she was having a real hard time with her third word. She had the other two pretty well in hand. And I said to her, from what you tell me, maybe the word enough is for you. And that worked for her. It worked just fine because it said what she needed to hear. So you look at all the adjectives in the world that could describe you or the future version of yourself, and you circle 3 words that you want to lean into. You pick 3 words that are going to become your true north. So let me show you how this works. Those 3 words, I'm going to use mine so that you can understand how I use them. I have intentional, grateful, and bold. I started with signs behind me that said, be intentional, grateful, and bold. I set up reminders 2 times a day on my phone. I reworded the word alarm and I put be intentional, grateful, and bold. And they ring 10 a.m. and 4 p.m. Unless I have a meeting, they remind me to be those 3 words. Then when somebody comes and has me make a decision, for instance, this is my favorite example, your cousin's daughter's second cousin's daughter has a bridal shower 4 hours away, and you haven't spoken to this human in 20 years. Now, you take your 3 words and you say, does this meet my intentional, grateful, and bold criteria? Well, if you want to be intentional about your time and you're going to spend at least 6 hours in the car getting to and from a thing that you can just potentially send a card or a gift and not have to go, that's a lens by which you make that decision. The client says something to you and they want you to agree with them. And at the same time that what they're asking you to agree to is completely and utterly wrong, not on strategy, not for them, and something you would not endorse. You have to be bold enough to tell the client what they need to hear, not what they want to hear. That's bold. Somebody offers you the opportunity to another position within your organization. Do you like it? Do you want it? Are you being true to yourself? Are you being intentional? Are you being forthright? Are you being clear? Whatever the words are that you chose, you have to use them as your lens. So use words that are going to serve you so that you lean into the best version of yourself with those words. They become your stopgap. Hey, will I do this? Will I not? I don't know. Let me check on my 3 words. What would my 3 words tell me? If a human who is grateful, intentional, and bold, would that human say yes to this opportunity or no? The human that is intentional, grateful, and bold, would she take on that project? Would she work with that client? Would she take on that coaching project? Would she take that speaking opportunity? Let's find out. Let's use the 3 words as the exercise by which you set up your success for the year. And if these 3 words don't serve you in 3 months, you change 1, 2, or all 3 of them. And I just invite you to give it a chance. So 2 things you learned from today. 1 is you can have a theme of the year. That's just like a warm and fuzzy. What am I leaning into in terms of your psychological approach or where you want to put your emphasis this year? I'm going to frame that. And I'm going to put it up on my wall. And then the second is, what are my 3 words that I want to own, lean into, and become? How you are becoming something, you need tools and resources to do that. And I invite you to use this as yours. I invite you to reach out to me if there's anything that you're getting stuck with or stuck on. It is a fluid exercise. It's one that's supposed to serve you and maybe have you think about what you want in your life and how you want to show up and who you want to be. Thank you so much for listening. Please subscribe to this podcast and leave the podcast a rating. That really does help us. And make it a great day. Thanks. Bye.